Alright guys, buckle up, because today, we're diving into something most people don't understand until it's too late. The global currency war that could end the dollar's reign. This isn't just about inflation. This isn't just about de-dollarization. This is about the US dollar losing its crown as the world's reserve currency. And if you think that can't happen, stick around because the moves being made right now by China, by global investors, even by crypto, are flipping the table on America's financial empire. And yes, this affects you, your savings, your job, and your future. Everyone can feel it. The dollar is not what it used to be. Countries are trading less in dollars. The demand for US currency is slipping, and here's the kicker. When countries stop needing dollars, its value starts to collapse. Not slowly, not decades from now, but right now. Just 2 years ago, investors were paying a premium, literally extra money, just to get their hands on dollars. But today, that story is unraveling fast. We are moving into a world where people won't just avoid dollars, they might actually need to be paid to take them. So why is this happening? Simple. Debt. America's national debt has exploded. Interest payments alone are now over $1.2 trillion a year. That's more than the US spends on defense, more than Medicare. It's insane. And yet, Washington just keeps borrowing, keeps printing, keeps pretending it can kick the can forever. But here's the problem. Investors aren't buying the story anymore. Demand for US Treasury bonds is shrinking. Treasuries used to be risk-free. Now, they're looking more like toxic assets. So what's the plan from Washington? Enter Scott Besson. Think of him as the new salesman-in-chief of the US bond market. His brilliant idea? Convince crypto investors to rescue the American economy. Yes, you heard that right. He's trying to sell Bitcoin and Ethereum bros on the dream of holding US Treasuries. It's desperation. A pitch so bizarre it sounds like satire. But when your reserve currency is circling the drain, you'll try anything. And here's where the plot thickens. Because while Washington is busy playing salesman, one country is sitting back smiling and sharpening its knives. China. Beijing sees the cracks, and they are ready to take advantage. Because if you want to challenge the US economy, you have to challenge the dollar. And they're doing exactly that, by weaponizing their own currency, the Yuan. Recently, the People's Bank of China pulled off a financial chess move almost nobody saw coming. They strengthened the yuan to a 9-month high. Think about that. China, the world's biggest exporter, just made its currency more expensive. Normally, exporters want a weaker currency to sell cheaper goods, but China, they don't care. Why? Because they figured out something America hasn't. Even with a stronger yuan, their costs are still lower than the US thanks to cheap Russian oil, commodities, and massive supply chain control. So what looks like a weird move is actually an offensive strike. It's China saying, we can afford this, America can't. This is not checkmate, but it's definitely check. Now let's talk about tariffs. Trump's trade war has turned into a financial landmine. The US effective tariff rate is now around 17%. That means goods coming into America are nearly 20% more expensive than they used to be. So picture this. The dollar falls, tariffs rise, imports skyrocket in price. That's a double whammy crushing US consumers and manufacturers alike. China knows this. India knows this. Indonesia knows this. They're watching America sabotage its own economy with bad policy. And when you combine tariffs with a weak dollar, you've created the perfect storm. Here's where it gets dangerous. Goldman Sachs estimates that every 1% rise in the yuan boosts Chinese stocks by 3%. Stronger yuan equals stronger Chinese markets. So what happens when global investors start looking at the math? Do they put their money in a collapsing dollar and debt-ridden US stock market? Or do they shift capital into China, where the currency is gaining strength and returns are higher? It's not hard to guess. Money follows returns. And right now the tailwind is with Beijing. Meanwhile, Wall Street is built on margin debt, borrowed money, over $1 trillion of it. That means if investors panic and money starts leaving US assets, the whole system could implode. It's like a house of cards stacked on top of borrowed cash, and China knows this. They don't even need to directly attack. All they need to do is keep strengthening their currency, and global capital will naturally drain away from America. But here's the ace up China's sleeve: rare earth metals. America's entire tech industry, batteries, semiconductors, fighter jets runs on rare earths. And who controls them? China. Trump threatened to hike tariffs on China to 200% if they don't give the US more rare earths. He even threatened to weaponize Boeing airplane parts. But here's the problem. China has Airbus. They have Comac, their own state-backed aircraft maker. Here's where it gets laughable. America actually had a way out: Brazil. Brazil has the second largest stockpile of rare earths in the world. But what did Washington geniuses do? They slapped Brazil with brutal tariffs up to 50%, making any mining projects economically impossible. This is why I'm calling it the calm before the storm. The trade war isn't over, the currency war isn't over, and the US dollar is standing on the edge of the cliff. China's strategy is clear. Keep the Yuan strong, attract global capital, control rare earths, and let America drown in its own debt and tariffs. The dollar falling isn't the problem, it's the policies that make the fall catastrophic. So, here's the real question. Will China succeed in pulling global money away from Wall Street? Will the US dollar lose its reserve currency status in our lifetime? And what happens to ordinary people like us when the financial empire collapses? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is one of the biggest economic battles of our generation. And trust me, we're only seeing the opening shots. Stay safe, stack wisely, and don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video so more people wake up to what's happening. Because when the dollar goes down, it won't just be Washington that feels it, it'll be all of us.